Hello, I'm Ricky R. LaVaughn, author of the Gospel of Mark, a Bible study on the book of Mark. In this video, I'll be reading Lesson 3, The Good News. This will include the questions and a Just a Thought section. Please have something to write or take notes on during the questions. And also make sure to pause in between each question so that way you can have the time to make the notes. Thank you and enjoy. Question 1. What happened after John the Baptist was arrested? It's found in Mark chapter 1, verse 14. Question 2. Jesus went through a personal tragedy when his cousin, John, was arrested. Instead of cowering in fear, Jesus chose to preach and continue the message. When facing personal struggles, what lessons should we learn from Jesus' example and how we should continue to do God's will? Question 3. Why is it important to do what is right, despite bad things or evil permeating society? Question 4. What was Christ's message to the people of Galilee? This is found in Mark chapter 1, verse 15. Question 5. What good news can people receive in the 21st century? Question 6. Why is it essential to positively encourage people? How can that encouragement affect communities and families? Question 7. Repentance was an essential part of Jesus' preaching. Why did he emphasize this action, and what ways can we show repentance of our actions? And question 8, hearing about the good news is only a part of the solution. We must also believe. Why is it vital for us to believe in the gospel of Jesus? And now it's time for the Just a Thought section. I remember watching a documentary on ESPN about the friendship of John Wall, a superstar guard for the Washington Wizards, and a young girl named Demaya Telemake Nelson, battling childhood cancer. The film was in depth on how the family was surprised at how he would be there for her and constantly encouraged the family while she went through various stages of treatment. People applauded him for his care for someone that at that time many didn't even know he was helping. The brief short was terrific in the storytelling, music, and how the interviews were directed. Then it dawned on me, why haven't we heard from the young girl? Countless times a young person would still be interviewed about how they loved the athlete or wore their jersey for inspiration. Then as the moment that thought came into my mind, the documentary changed to state how Demaya had finished her battle with cancer on December 8th, 2014. Not one usually to tear up or cry, but that one hurt. It was tough to see how awesome this young girl was because she only had a moment to be loved by so many. I didn't even know the girl, but the story was told so in a way that it hurt me. Then I could only imagine her family, friends, and John Wall. On December 9th, 2014, the Washington Wizards played against the Boston Celtics. John knew of the young lady's passing and, of course, could have sat the game out due to grief. Instead, he chose to play and wrote her name on his shoes. He dedicated the game to her and led the Wizards to a 133-132 double overtime win against the Celtics. After the game, the emotions were too much and he wept on national TV while being interviewed about little Demaya Telemake Nelson. Jesus experienced a tragedy, not to himself, but when John the Baptist was arrested. He knew it would not go in the preacher's favor. John the Baptist wasn't just the person who placed him in the water, but also his cousin. Jesus had a family member go through a great tragedy and pressed on to do what God was calling him to do. Often the most challenging time to commit to the Lord isn't when something happens to us. We often push through the pain or use it as motivation to be stronger. The most challenging times can be when a loved one is going through a situation and you're helpless to do anything about it. Despite this, God has spoken, and we must answer with our actions. No one said it would be easy. Guess what? Life is tough. We know that, and it includes our loved ones as well. When tragedy happens, recognize that it's not easy. Recognize how it makes you feel. Recognize what you can do to help a person in need. Recognize the limitations of the situation and do your best to push on. It won't be easy, and you might have to take what's next day by day. Still, do something for God and don't back down from who you are. Of course, don't ignore the person, but stop. Honor that person and who they mean to you with your actions of love, not only towards them, but also towards the people you might serve, and of course, Jesus Christ. For more on the Gospel of Mark, visit lavari.com/Mark for free chapters, videos, and more. It's available on Amazon and wherever books are sold in hardcover, paperback, and Kindle. Link, of course, would be in the description. Thank you so much for your support and prayers.